Good evening, Speed Gaming and Final Fantasy Randomizer fans. Welcome to the final qualifier for the Speed Gaming Live Final Fantasy Randomizer tournament. Tonight, I am joined in the booth by Space Drake, with JLo7 pushing the buttons, keeping us honest. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, and this time we're actually live with tracking. Thank you very much, JLo.
Yeah, very much so. The trackers do a lot of work to try and keep us commentators honest, because God knows we're a flighty bunch a lot of the times. So tonight, I was the one who rolled the seed, and it didn't end up too much of a trash fire. As you can see from the party, we got a couple of fighters, a white mage, a black mage, and the other two that are not showing on the screen are two black belts. The fighters ended up getting ninja spells with plus 10 luck, but a minus 10 agility on them.
Yeah, and the ninja spells are exactly why you're seeing like double fighter strats here. Like you have what essentially counts as three black magic casters in a single party, and two of them can wear heavy armor. So there's basically no reason not to go for an old classic standby of double fighter white black.
Yeah, especially since those fighters, they're minus 10 agility, which isn't too bad for them.
Mm-hmm.
The white mages ended up with plus 20 strength and the ability to equip a Vorpal sword if they find one and if it's not utter garbage. But they lost 15 vitality, so they're going to be a little bit squishier than normal.
And then, speaking of squishy, you've got the black mages, who did get a couple nice bonuses in plus 10 strength and hit, although they don't really get any new weapons. But they also happen to roll minus 30 HP, which means that I'm not entirely sure if they'll start with 1 HP, but we'll have to find out.
I'm about 90% sure we're going to see 1 HP at start on for those guys.
Yeah, so the black mages are even squishier than normal, and that's why we only see one in the party.
Well, that in the draft only allowed for one of them. But yeah, they are going to be they're going to be some fragile stuff. It's going to be kind of funny.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, this is the 9th and final qualifier for the Speed Gaming Live tournament. After this, we're going to be figuring out who's placed in what position, and then figuring out how our pods are going to go. I believe it's going to be the top 32 people are going to be sorted into pods, which they're going to have to fight it out then, and we're going to end up with a bracket of 16, which will be whittled down slowly but surely.
And of course, your average time for determining pods and seeding can be helped by this final race. So we have quite a number of runners, and speaking of running, we are off of the gate. We are off to check Black Magic, and we have Temper, Hold, Stop, and Fire 2. This is basically exactly what you want to see with this party composition in level 1 Magic, because the fighters can temper themselves, and you have three casters of Fire 2.
Yeah, Fire 2, at least they've got stuff. Oh, and Cure 4 at level 1. That's kind of a good thing to see as well.
Yeah. And then weapons plus 4 falchions are also pretty good for our fighters, although they don't really need it right now.
Well, I guess that I rolled a friendly seed this time as opposed to a garbage seed. Yep. I'm a little disappointed in myself.
And then we get those big packs of imps, which our runners actually kind of want to see, because that gets them straight to level 3. Life Reboot going straight for the Temple of Fiends, while looks like Rob is grabbing a pick-me-up level, like right off the bat. That's surprising, wanting to go for at least one sword and also some items and whatnot.
Yeah, and, also getting the ability to, not have a one-hit point Black Mage.
Yeah, and also, so it turns out that we have randomized magic on for the SGL flag set, and randomized item magic, and that means that the heal helmet rolled fast instead.
That is a very convenient find right there.
Yes, and it's sort of a question. We'll have to see if Rob actually picks that up, because not everyone playing these flag sets checks those 3 chests in Temple of Fiends. And no! Oh, Rob does not pick up the fast helmet. That could actually end up hurting, especially depending on where the where exactly fast ends up being on the spell list.
Yeah, if it ends up being at a level that, you have to promote to find, that might be problematic. Or if it ends up at, like, level 8. Whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, so that could be a real advantage to Life Reboot here. Anyway, we go ahead and pick up a bridge and a canoe. Which means our ship probably has to be in Provoca. Although, not necessarily, because the canoe does give us some options for where we want to go.
Yeah, the canoe does allow them to, have to boat on down to Elfland, or to, head on over to the Marsh Cave and have to get the ship out of one of those. Come on, I'm really hoping it's one of those. And to answer the question from Beef Curry in chat, or Beefu Curry, I should say, it is a short Topher tonight with 2 Fiend refights. The Fiends will vary depending upon whether you go left or right.
Okay, and so we get our look at White Magic, Invis, and a bunch of garbage for White Magic level 2 in Provoca. And the Black Magic.
Yeah, White Magic level 2, Swing and a Miss. Alright, so
Zap
Zap
isn't so bad.
Yeah, Zap and Garbage at level 2.
Yep. Zap actually has a lower chance to hit than other instant kills, but it's time elemental, so there's essentially nothing in the game outside of Chaos who resists it. But you also have your Fire 2s going, and Fire 2 is going to do a lot of work for you, like until you get the floater, until you get off of the southern continent, more or less.
Yeah. Until you get some decent magic, it'll work. All right, so we've got Bicky with a crystal. So let's see, that's going to send it back to Matoya.
Yes, indeed.
I'm trying to figure out what will be the most horrible chain. I'm thinking that the crystal could turn into. Let's say Crystal turns into Rod. Or no, let's say Crystal turns into Herb. And then Herb turns into Rod with the ship in Marsh Cave. Because that way, pretty much your only way to go from there is over to the Earth Cave.
Mm-hmm. And then you have to beat up a Spooky Boy in order to get to your next bit of progression. Because unlike most FFR flag sets, we do not have early sages turned on. So if you want to get the sage item, you have to beat up Lich.
Hey, and a Fire 2 bonk hiding in Matoya's closet. That's not too shabby.
That's pretty nice, actually.
All right, Crystal to Herb. Not too bad. It means they're still going to... Of course I'm trying to curse the seed. I'm the one who rolled this. I don't like playing horrible seeds, but I love commentating on them. Because I'm kind of a horrible person.
Fair enough. Works for me. And meanwhile, we have Rob Draven going the long way around to Elfland.
I wonder if he's going to
avoid that river system as much as possible.
I'm wondering if he's going to make the cheeky ice play. And yeah, better. I try to curse all the seeds I'm commentating on, because it just makes it more fun.
Early dwarf chests have nothing for us. Those Grahams have Stun Touch, which is a little spooky.
Yeah, kind of an annoyance more than anything else. But, not horribly bad.
And Life Reboot has not yet picked up that Fire 2 gauntlet, and that's already causing him a little bit of trouble. Apparently deciding to go straight for... I don't think Life Reboot has turned in that crystal yet. I'm not quite sure why he's swinging south.
Maybe he's hoping to find the ship somewhere so he can.
Oh, and Rob is trying to get out ahead of the logic here a bit, thinking, "Oh, okay, this is absolutely setting me up to get trolled by Marsh. So while I'm on the way, let's just get the pain out of the way, especially since I have this Fire 2 bonk in hand and can just like sweep things."
I do not disagree with that play, especially since the non-fiend dungeons that are incentivized, it's a vanilla location, so you know exactly where to go to get it.
Mm-hmm. And there are a couple of chests on the way down here, so it's not a terrible play. Rolling that casted Fire 2, but the bunk cleans it up.
Yeah, try and pick up some extra scratch on your way over to Elfland so that you can afford to get spells. And to answer the question from Pifu Kuri, fighters will end up getting the equivalent of, well, all the ninja spells, so it'll be up to 4 casts of levels 1 through 4. Alright, Life Reboot pulling into Elfland, checking out the black magic. And we find
Level 3 Nuke and level 3 Quadex, and oh! There's a very angry dragon guarding that Marsh chest. So Rob is like, I'm gonna go get myself some spells.
I did not see what kind of dragon it was.
Rob has the palette randomization on, so it's a little hard to tell immediately. We will see here in a moment when Life Reboot pulls up to the station. And we have a cube from the Sleeping Prince. Not too helpful at the moment, and that means that our direct progression has to be here in Marsh.
Yep. Behind that
also means that we are now hunting for a rod or something similar.
I'm thinking we're probably going to find the ship in Marsh, or maybe the crown in Marsh.
Yeah. And level 3 White has Exit and Life 2. Oh, wow. And Harm. Wow.
All right,
that is a loaded level 3 White.
Yeah, level 3. That Elfland is the play that pays.
Yeah.
And progression could be an ice as well.
And Fade at level 4
Fade.
with Invis 2.
Oh my goodness.
This white mage is not hurting for options here. Yeah, okay, that's a blue dragon. That's scary at this level. Oh, and it rolled Blaze.
Oh my.
Hello. But Life Reboot manages to get away. Then there's the rod. Hello, mandatory lich for progression. How you doing, bud? Ooh, and +1 chain armors. That's pretty good protection for our fighters, especially since we have 2 of them.
Yeah, especially since it's pretty cheap, so it's it's a perfectly cromulent gear.
Okay. Meanwhile, Rob trying to get back to Marsh, and Life Reboot desperately trying to finish looting the Marsh Cave and get out alive with the goods. As we continue fireballing some arachnids, and the Fire 2s on the fighters continue to come up big. However, I feel like the more we go on, the more Life Reboot is going to start feeling that lack of Fire Gauntlet.
Yeah, until he at least gets out of here and, gets people rezzed.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and gets cash to pick up Nuke.
Yeah, and specifically, that is what Rob is doing. He knows what's down there at the bottom of Marsh, and he wants to go in loaded for bear.
Which I cannot blame him, because that blue D is a good amount of experience.
Yeah, he might actually be thinking, hey, with Nuke in hand, I might be able to farm that thing. That's EXP, and I like EXP. It's good, tasty.
Though I'm not sure if he saw that blaze or not. He probably did, given that he basically wiped out of Marsh, so I'm not sure if it would be wise to try and farm that. And JLo confirming that, yeah, the blue D turned him into a crispy bit.
Mm-hmm. And now we have a little bit of root complexity here because Life Reboot never turned in that crystal. And we know that to complete the seed, turning in that crystal to get the cube is mandatory. So Life Reboot is about to lose a little bit of time here because he didn't efficiently route that that crystal check-in. Whereas Rob has more or less gotten himself completely sorted out, is going to possibly farm some dragons, and is going to grab this rod and can now just like hit the jets and go straight for Earth. And also, Rob deciding, nah, I'm not gonna farm me a dragon. I'm just gonna grab some levels and get out of here. I'm lamenting that I don't have exit yet because now I gotta run this out.
I actually don't blame him for only taking that one because those dragons are kind of chonky. I mean, it took 3 nukes and a spare fire 2 plus another round of another nuke to actually drop it.
Yeah. And meanwhile, Life Reboot now has to do some running up and down here on the map just to get this this cube acquired. And so he is going to lose a little bit of time to Rob, who is basically hitting the jets at this point. I think he'll stop to pick up exit to save himself some suffering, and then that's going to be pretty much it for now. He'll probably swing by to pick up Fade later, but beyond that, it's like, well, let's just grab exit and growl, more or less.
Though Rob is going to have to swing up and hit Ice Cave as well. So that's going to be a bit of a problem. I mean, Life Reboot's going to have to swing down to hit it. And the cube, whilst it is necessary, he can turn that in shortly. Oh, hey, there's actual fast. Anywho, he can turn that herb into the cube, after he gets the ship or airship. So this is, it's not exactly the best routing out of Life Reboot, but I don't think it's going to be nearly as much of a problem as it could be.
That's fair, but it's still a little bit of a time loss, and frankly, these runners are so neck and neck that even small time losses can result in huge swings. And Rob looking like he's going to go check that the Canaria shop, not the Canaria, the Crescent Lake shops, which is a little surprising since we can't get the Sage item yet.
Yeah, but you never know where the vendor item is. So if it ends up being in Crescent Lake, that could give him a real big boost.
This is true.
Alright, seems like Life Reboot is heading back on down to Elfland, which this is going to burn him a little bit because this is definitely going to be a bit of a time loss.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, Rob desperately looking for a pure potion and finds a floater for his trouble.
Alright, so 40k to grind up. He's like, wait a minute, did I see something there? Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, I forgot my heal potions. By the way, that float is also pretty nice. Okay, so if I'm Rob, right now I'm thinking ice because there's a decent chance I can get a lot of money out of the chest in there, and it's where progression can potentially be, so... That feels like the play to make right now, assuming I don't get eaten by hydras.
Actually, for me, my thought would be, okay, so we at this point know that it's going to be the ship in ice. I would hit up Volcano, loot the armory, see if I can get cash out of that.
Yeah,
if I get enough cash out of that, then get that floater, and then just fade ice. Though it looks like he's going to ice.
Yeah. There is with as many like required key items as we still have available, because we still need Oxyale, we still need Chime, we still need Key, we still need loot. The odds are reasonably high that this will lead to required progression, and you're going to have to dive ice anyway.
Nah, because you gotta get the... I mean, okay, it might be Crown in here, but either way, this is going to lead to the ship, because you gotta get the ship out of the inner sea. I mean, it could be Adamant or TNT or Crown, I should say, but...
Yeah.
Either way, whatever is in here is going to lead to the ship. And if it is not the Crown, then that's a bit of a problem, unless whatever he gets turns into the Crown.
Meanwhile, the Wraiths and Eye Mages giving Rob a bit of the business here, but he makes it through with no casualties.
I will also say that I'm generally team never ice, because I just despise Ice Cave personally.
Fair enough.
So, you know, my...
I hate it a lot less when you have both Fire 2 and Nuke on tap in early spell levels, and you have like 3 folks who can cast both, as well as in one of our runners' cases, the availability of a Fire 2 gauntlet.
Well, here's money.
Well, there is both money and EXP. However, that is an eye that actually rolled some abilities, so that's a bit spookier than we usually like to see it. For example...
It's just glance, so as long as you actually have some softs, it's not a problem.
Which I don't believe Rob does.
Softs. Never leave Corneria without it.
Yeah, we're running into some problems here.
That being said, those things have less than 200 hit points.
It's true.
And now Rob's like, oh, that's enough of my party that's been turned into stone. Holy crap,
Yep.
That's a giant pile of cash.
That is a large pile of cash.
Silly
And
game.
the upshot of having 2 people stoned is that we can run away from things quite a bit faster now.
Yeah, and, you know, if something happens and you do have to kill things, at least you're focusing the XP a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my goodness.
Well, that sorts out our floater problems.
Pretty much.
Oh, unrunable cockatrices and mummies. We'll have to hope that these aren't too nasty.
Yeah, that's what fire is for.
And Fire 2 does Fire 2 things.
Looks like pretty much everything on that group low rolled on hit points, so yeah, they just got wiped out pretty hard.
Yep. Anyway, this pretty much secures floater for both of our runners, who are both basically doing simultaneous dives of ice. And there's a ship directly, just in time for it to be completely irrelevant.
Hashtag never ice.
I mean, you say never ice, but it literally gave us the cash that we needed to progress.
Hashtag never ice. Probably could have pulled that cash out of Volcano.
Also, it's interesting to note that Life Reboot did not check that eye tile.
No, it's honestly, I mean, it's not a huge loss. I found that in these flag sets, a static grind really isn't too necessary as long as you take some fights whilst you're just walking around.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, Rob Draven is first out of the ice cave and is heading back to Crescent Lake to buy that precious floater, or not.
Nah, he's heading up to Provoca to see if they have softs, and if they don't, heading back to Canaria to actually buy some softs.
Not actually the play I would make. Like, we have 2 stoned party members, but we also have access to the airship. It would be a lot faster to just go grab the airship, get in the air, and then zip back to Canaria specifically.
Yeah, that's my thought as well, because, yeah. Okay, so it looks like he's just catching the boat and moving over to go get the curatives and restoratives. And Life Reboot doesn't know about the floater, so it makes sense for him to do what he's doing.
Oh no! Did Life Reboot not check the Canaria, not the Crescent item shop?
Nah, he did not. He
Oh no! That's a big oh no from me. It could be a while before he checks that. Well, maybe not that long, because, well, he has the ship, and he has the rod.
Yeah,
but
so
that would mean that he could only really do Earth or Ordeals, and that's about it.
Well, and he can't even do Ordeals because he doesn't have the crown.
Yeah. Right, because in addition to no early sages, we also have no early ordeals, because the vanilla game actually will check that you have the crown. The old man that you meet at the start of Ordeals is not just a useless NPC, despite the fact that he is kind of useless because there is no logical way to get to Ordeals without getting the crown in the vanilla game as it's published. But that check is still there.
Yeah, and, I mean, you don't even have to actually talk to the old man now. You just, or at least not in this, you just, as long as you've got the crown, you can go and not bonk off of the chair. And to answer the question from AutoShy in chat, yeah, the sages are locked behind Lich. You have to kill Lich before you can get the loot from the sages. All right.
That Rob Draven is now airborne.
Yep, Skyrock for Rob.
Life Reboot is also stocking up on some restoratives.
Better safe than sorry.
At 2414, Rob Draven is in the air. Now, where is he going to go?
He is heading over to talk to Sarda, see what Sarda's got for him, and then he'll probably dive Earth.
Yeah, because while the other early flags are turned off, you can check in with Sarda pretty early. And that gets Rob Draven a key, which could...
It's not going to get you any progression, but, it's needed anyway.
A lot of loot, depending on what you want to potentially get your fighters. However, Rob has nuke in hand, is full of fire, and is deciding, I'm going to go kill me an undead guy.
I did not notice if he picked up Lich's cake or not, though. So let's see if he's actually going to have to damage Lich, or if he's just going to feed Lich enough cake that he explodes.
Delicious cake.
Ooh, Brack and Bane, both at level 5, so...
Brack, Bane, and Ice 3.
Yeah.
I would actually take both Brack and Ice 3 in that personally, if I had enough money for it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the thing I enjoy most seeing out of that is that Brack, because, Lich, or not Lich, but Tia and Kraken.
Yeah. Well, Brack strats on Kraken are a little bit of a meme, especially when you have like level 3 nukes on 3 people.
Now, you can still Bracken the Kraken pretty quickly, though. I mean, it's got something like an 18 or 20% chance to Brack Kraken 1.
Mm-hmm.
And it's, still pretty good here. Or still pretty good chance to do that, and that oftentimes saves more time than trying to punch the squishy fishy down.
Yeah. And meanwhile, there was a speed bump there, but Rob Draven just kind of went over it. And now we get our first look in this seed at how the Fiend Dungeons work. Because the Fiend Dungeons, 3 of the Fiend Dungeons, Earth, Sea, and and Sky Palace will have their key items behind whatever mechanic would lock away any given chests in the dungeon. For Earth, that means that the key item is here on the 4th floor, and it was in one of those upper treasury chests, and it turned out to be the adamant. For C, it is going to exclusively be what we in the community call TFC, that effing chest that is behind a locked door in the upper C shrine.
Yep, that friendly chest. And for Sky, it means that it's going to be not in the Mirage Tower, but in any of the massive amount of chests that are hanging about in Sky 1, 2, or 3.
Yep. And I will point out that we have not seen Warp in the first 5 spell levels, so that's going to make the Sky Search kind of messy.
Yeah, I hate checking Sky without Warp. Honestly, I hate checking Sky for loose items or for, not specifically placed items.
Fair IMO. Anyway, with a save, Rob Draven is out and has hit a lit-shaped speed bump and is now checking Hall of Giants. And finds some zombie Ds.
Zombies and zombie Ds, so it's the Hall of the Undead.
Pretty much. And they're super squishy. It looks like Rob just wants to get a last few levels to really get those nuke and fade charges going, and it's probably going to take a few Alright, it just takes those levels right there, and is like, yeah, I'm good.
I'm fine, thanks. Alright, let's see what Smithy McBeardsmith smiths, and he makes a really, really sturdy crown for you.
Yes, indeed. And Rob fading the Dwarven Armory with exit. I don't know if I like that play.
I wouldn't worry about it too much in this flag set, because you might find a good item down there, but Masa is incentivized. There's at least one incentive ribbon, and you have a whole bunch of nuke.
This is true. And there's the chime, so we can do Sky, Sky, Sky right now if Rob Draven decides, you know what? I want to see the stars. Meanwhile, Life Reboot is still picking through all those encounters on the way to Earth Cave.
And it looks like Rob is also... Ooh, those mud goals are shocking mud goals. That was a high roll thunder there.
Yes, indeed. Probably not going to bother with that again. And then some Frost Wolves to round out this other set of trap tiles.
Alright, now, if I were Life Reboot, right now that I have the crown, I would hop in my ship and I would head straight on down to Ordeals. Honestly, if I were Rob Draven as well, I would go get my ship and head down to Ordeals, because with the speedboat, it's just about quicker to boat on down to hit up Ordeals and then boat back, rather than that long walk.
Well, Rob also wants to pick up a couple more spells.
That is an entirely fair cop.
Specifically, getting some lock going for our knights and whatnot, just in case we need to punch a very evasive chaos. Yeah, but Rob decided to do the Ordeals hike instead of using the speedboat.
Which, given that the speedboat was parked down by the Rudokhan Desert, it's understandable to do this, and that's also my own personal preference to just hit the speedboat for it.
Meanwhile, Rob Draven going ahead and snacking on a sandwich on the way to a mighty ordeal.
Sandwich. Okay, and it looks like Life Reboot's heading on over to get the loot from the sages, or, LOOT.
I was also about to find a little bit of despair for him, personally.
Yeah,
Because he's got to realize, oh, hell, I could have been in the sky like a good, I don't know.
He's like, okay, what can I sell? Well, fast.
No.
It's like fast is level 4, so it's not horrible. But he's like, I've got to get some cash together.
Yeah, no. This is really not a good position for Life Reboot to be in. Like this. Ooh.
You sell all of your armor.
Sells the Fire 2 Gauntlet, so that is officially out of play.
Saving himself $162 for anything else.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the red gargoyles in Ordeals are not friendly.
Oh well, hey, and I was right. It is the loot that you're getting from the sages. Yeah. Those gargoyles. I mean, on the best of times, nobody likes gargoyles.
These when you give them lit 3, it's just unfair.
Yeah, these gargoyles are just ugly.
Rob manages to do a little bit of encounter manipulation and avoids the trouble with them a second time. And is just going to hit a Sphinx with nuclear weapons until it falls over. Meanwhile, Life Reboot decided to do Volcano here. I'm not sure if this is going to be just an armory dive or if we're going all the way.
I would expect him probably to dive all the way down after picking this armory clean.
Yeah.
Well, depending upon how things treat him.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Rob finding a ton more money and a Pro Ring +3 for his trouble, which is going to be really good for poor Black Mage.
Hey, and Vanilla Tail.
Vanilla Tail. Is this even, etc.?
That being said, it's kind of a nice thing to see here, because...
promotions will help this party, yes.
Yep.
You do want all the gear unlocked for those knights, and the promotion here for the knights is going to be interesting because they will still get their knight spells when they promote, so they will have full ninja and full knight spells. Which means that you can now have basically 3 casters of Nuke and 3 casters of Cure 4.
Ooh, though they did find, or it looks like Life Reboot did find an Invisible 2 or an Invis 2 stick in Armory. That's kind of nice.
That is pretty good, I'm not going to lie. And in fact, I would say at this point, it's quite likely that Rob is not going to find that. But what he is going to find is more vampires than you can shake a stick at.
Very thin vampires. Very flammable vampires.
Yes, indeed. And that's going to be a ton of experience. And this, of course, this is another reason that grind tiles are not particularly favored in this particular flag set, because you have to search through so much of sky in order to find that item. And the encounters in the Mirage Sky Complex are just the most EXP-rich encounters in the entire game, outside of certain floors of Temple of Fiends.
And Rob Draven finding that the spike tile in Mirage 3 is the worst spike tile in the game, the Phantom.
Nobody likes fighting the Phantom. Nobody likes Death Beholders.
Yep, well, especially since the Phantom also has glance, so I guess the eyeballs just like to turn you to stone by staring at you funny.
Evidently. Anyway, Rob starting this item hunt here in Sky Palace while Life Reboot beats up a snake lady.
Nuke, Fade. We're just going to toss all the spells at it until it falls over.
But if it doesn't fall over pretty quickly, Carrie is set up to start mangling some people. Because, ooh. Yep, that's a fasted carry. You don't usually want to see that. But at the end of the day, nuclear explosions get the job done.
Yeah, just throw microwaves at her until she falls over.
Alright, so floor 1 for Rob Draven was a bust as Life Reboot continues to get underway here. And is now going to check Sarda. It is worth noting, though, that although we get to check Starta early, the Titan's Trove is not yet irrelevant, because there actually is a key item locked behind the ruby in Titan's Trove. So finding the ruby will not be worthless for our runners.
I know, it's quite a shock to have a seed where it's like, all right, I've got the floater, and the ruby isn't useless?
Yep. Meanwhile, that was a really nasty man-cat pack from Rob Draven, but once again, Nuke saved the day. And another pro ring. Gonna go ahead and put that on our on one of our fighters, because they are admittedly pretty squishy. We have not found really good fighter or knight armor just yet.
Yeah, though Rob Raven did at least find Opal Shield somewhere in Sky, and he's at least got the tail, so if he does go along to promote, he can at least equip it.
Yep. Meanwhile, Life Reboot now doing the skydive as well, and having to put up with some angry cats, as Rob is also dealing with wizard vampires who are significantly tougher than their standard cousins.
I hate dealing with the cats. Like catmen, man cats, they all just crump, crump, crump. Okay, the rock gulls, I do have to say, with that palette swap, are kind of pretty.
Yep. And they will also set you on fire, which is significantly less pretty.
We like to burn things.
All right. And also worth noting that Rob is doing a little bit of clever routing here, because there are actually more chests here on floor 3 than there are on floor 2. So it makes a fair bit of sense to check this before you check the before you check the second floor, which takes forever to walk around in.
The other thing about doing Sky 3 before Sky 2 is that instead of having to double back around, you can just make a circle if you're checking Sky 2 from the bottom rather than the top.
Also, those fighters are unrunnable, and it takes a lot of effort to kill them. Like, I think Rob is going to have to dip out and house up before trying to fight Tiamat, because this hike across the sky floors is using up a lot of resources. And we find some cheese in the shape of a ruby, as well as a heal 3 axe. Hello.
All right, that is kind of a convenient find, and those greed tests paying off.
Okay. Rob thinks about some nachos, but yeah, this is bold. I'm not sure I agree with this call, because you're really hurting for resources after this floor walk.
Bracken dreams.
Fair enough, I guess.
And however many nukes he's got left, so yeah.
Right, pulling out the somewhat nerfed fire and ice swords, just in case we end up needing them.
Better safe than sorry to have, something equipped.
Okay, and we're in the fight with Tiamat. Nuke. Fast on this.
Wow, Tiamat hits like a kitten.
Yep. It's mostly going to come down to what specials Tiamat has.
If any.
Anyway, Life Reboot is actually doing the long way around and is not taking any chances on floor 2 possibly being a troll and having the item, which we know is not true. But this isn't the worst call to make. There's a lot of disagreement on what the best way to search these sky floors is, especially in the case of not having any warp available. We're on to floor 3, and we get glancing
Ew, 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 ew.
I'm sorry. Do those man cats have death touch? Did I see that right?
I don't know if they have death touch or not, but
They have
certainly
rum, and they certainly have what's required to blow away a party. Holy crap.
They certainly have a pile of kill you dead.
Ugh. Alright. Well, Rob Draven kind of evaded a bullet on that one. And yeah, that is actually a blow to life reboot, because you now know like which chests don't have the item that you're looking for.
Yeah, you know which ones you can fade at least. So that is a positive of it, but
yeah, that's still a fairly significant time loss, while Rob is just continuing to charge down all of these incentive locations and is continuing to make progress.
Ooh, Vorpal +3. Vorpal actually being potentially useful. But
yeah,
you still got a double dip on Rat Continent.
Yep. And let's see, no, because we are still looking for that Oxyale.
Yeah.
At this point, it's loot and Oxyale for Rob Draven to be in go mode.
Yeah, Rob has not checked with the sages, so that's where the loot is, and the Oxyale is probably behind that TNT, which he just got from the robot.
Yes. And our tracker has had to step away for a moment, so we will have that TNT up on the screen momentarily. And Rob is about to promote.
Can't blame him on that one.
And I would imagine that Vorpal is going to go over to probably one of the knights? Yes.
Yeah. The Vorpal on one of the knights would make sense. If he had it pre-promotion, then the White Mage could have swung it. But at this point, yeah, it's good as it is.
Yeah. All right. And going to turn in this TNT. I would imagine Rob is going to check Sages right after this, assuming Rob has not forgotten Sages, because that can happen in the scramble to get things done. And we're so used to just stopping by Crescent Lake and getting that item that in this flags that it is surprisingly easy to just forget you haven't done that.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, the dwarf armory I was talking up earlier turns out to have a fat load of nothing.
Yeah, I'm not surprised on it. And I missed. What did that TNT turn into? Did it turn into slab?
Although, check, you're probably correct.
I did turn directly into the Oxyale. Okay.
Yes, and so, Rob is a loot away from go mode. And we now know that the cheese ruby has to turn into another fetch quest item, and whatever is in there's probably a fetch quest item in C as well, and both those last two fetch quest items will turn into a masa and a ribbon.
Yeah, I would probably hit up the Titans, see what that is, hope that it is not slab. If it's the bottle, great, I'd go turn that in, because that would be probably something good.
Yeah. Rob is checking this on the way to Sages, and cheese is Titan's favorite.
Right, survey says ribbon. All right, that's
ribbon +2. So it will be a bottle or slab in C that will turn into the other fetch quest item, which will turn into masa. We and Chet are now in no mode, and it will just depend on when Rob decides to go get that loot to be in go mode. And then the one remaining question is, will Rob decide to hunt down that masa, because he will now be in no mode for where that is?
Given that it's going to be behind slab and bottle.
Yeah.
Oh, the theremin, one of the more interesting musical instruments that comes from multi-instrumentalist Sarah.
Yep. And with that, though, Rob Draven is in go mode here at 46 minutes and 25 seconds.
Well,
and Rob immediately hits the jets.
Yeah, Rob is in Murder Fiends and go.
Meanwhile, I believe Life Reboot just killed a big dragon.
Yep,
And so is actually ahead on Fiend kills compared to Rob, but is still hunting down that Oxyale. So that is going to take a little bit longer. Life Reboot gonna check this cheese, which is a ruby for him, and we'll get that ribbon, which is always welcome.
If Life Reboot is lucky, he will just bypass Ordeals, because yes, Ordeals does give you the tail and the promotion, but it's not strictly necessary.
Yeah.
But if he chases down Ordeals, it's gonna be a bit of a time waster for him.
Yeah. Whereas, Rob is just on the warpath at this point.
All right, and it looks like Life Reboot is skipping Ordeals for now. He is going to go get that TNT from the robot, probably go turn that in and get the Oxyale, and then be like, okay, I don't need to go anywhere else.
Yep. Meanwhile, Rob Draven is going up against a lady with far too many arms. And it turns out that, speaking of which, Carrie did not skip Arm Day. It's always fun when you see a fiend with multiple attacks and Stone Touch.
This seed wants to make people into statues.
It is really stone heavy. It's true. Anyway, despite that minor hiccup, Rob does not have that much trouble with the Demon Lady, and runs into an Agama that is pretending to be a Saria.
I am not as tasty as an Agama. Please don't kill me. Oh crap, it says my name.
Right. That is now Rob with 3 orbs on the board, going to unstone that poor knight real quickly, and I would assume just go charging straight for Onrak.
Yep, time to go face down Kraken. And I mean, he might check TFC, but I highly doubt it. Because
I don't think so. You, especially since you know at this point that every item has to be recoverable in the game. So whatever is in C is going to lead to a 2-item fetch quest chain that has to resolve in the Masa.
Yeah.
And, there's just no reason to spend the time to do that. Yeah. I fully expect that Rob is just going to hit the jets and go straight for Kraken.
Yeah.
He has proven me wrong before, but I don't see it this time.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, the only reason I would check that would be, okay, well, maybe I hunt down the Masa, I don't know, but honestly, without Warp, I wouldn't have touched that either, because, yeah, that's more walking you have to do, and walking sucks. Alright, Life Reboot about to get his old used scuba gear from Narek the Dwarf.
As Rob is doing exactly what we thought, and is going straight for the big squid. Actually going ahead and doing a little bit of nuke on these very beefy gray sharks.
Yeah, those Gur sharks, I'm not sure if it's gray or Gur. I prefer to think of it as Gur sharks, because they're just angry. Just
Anger shark.
Grr, grr. Ooh, Aegis Shield, not too shabby of a find. I mean, it rolled down 3, but still, it's an Aegis Shield.
Maximum down for this particular flag set, but still.
All right, Life Reboot getting ready to pull into that Sea Shrine as well, and he does not know about the tail over in Onrax, or over in Ordeals, so he may check TFC, but it's Life Reboot, so I'm not sure about that.
Yeah. Well, Life Reboot also would know now that the only things that are still out there are the tail and basically whatever would lead to. Guess he's going to take a look at TFC.
Yeah, because he does not know that the tail is hiding over in Ordeals.
Yeah.
If it were anything but the tail in Ordeals, then I could, this might actually have value. But given our, semi-omnipotent view on this seed, we know that this is a fail check here.
Yes. Meanwhile, Kraken has been microwaved on Rob's side, and that is 4 orbs lit for Rob at 52:15. We are going to save off real quick here, avoid some Wyverns, and we are going to head straight to that shortened Topher. And unless Topher has something really, really nasty in store, for our runners on stream at least, it's looking like this is Rob's game to lose.
Yeah, this is going to be, unless Topher does Topher things, this is going to be a walk and stomp.
Mm-hmm. That said, I have seen some very Topher-y Tophers in this flag set and in these qualifiers, so never count it out.
All right, plays that Theremin and finds, hey, he went the right way and found a Lich. Nice.
Yep. Worth noting that only the second fighter, this, on Rob Draven's side, has a weapon that is properly worth anything in that in the form of that Vorpal. So we're gonna have to see exactly what Rob decides to do with Chaos here, but we are using a whole bunch of casting charges to kill the heck out of this dragon.
Yeah, I
leads with Ice 2.
Yeah, it's not too shabby. And, honestly, finding Tiamat behind Lich, it's not a bad thing.
Yeah. It also is worth pointing out that Rob's levels are a bit thin. We are playing kind of fast and loose here. I don't think anyone on his team is above level 21.
Yeah, who cares? You've got Fast, you've got Nuke, you've got Tempers. Just go.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you have enough magic to handle this. Until you actually don't. I don't know.
Yeah.
Let's see how it rolls.
Yes, indeed. At heal 3 axes coming in clutch.
Oh, Zap coming out and doing a whole bunch of nuttin'.
That was actually a bit lucky because a Zap on the White Mage would have been scary.
Yeah, kind of. Honestly, it would have been... I believe his White Mage is the one who's toting that ribbon, so that's, that's not a bad thing.
Okay, and Rob is through the Tiamat, and they're coming up on the big guy. Going to put that Black Mage as a blade of armor forward, and we're into the Chaos fight.
Help hurt might this.
Okay. That knight is going to temper himself up.
Yeah, it looks like we've got some Invincity, we're going to have Fast, we got Temper, and Temper.
Yes. Temper.
Temper. Chaos busts out, smacks hurt, knocks him down in one shot. 240 down. Another Invis 2, more Temper.
Yep.
Angry Knight here.
Also, the good news is that we know that the slow 2 that is in the final boss pool went on to Lich instead, so there can't be any slow 2 shenanigans coming out of Chaos.
All right, so we have Test Swing 5 hits for 457 nuclear.
Well, that was very, very close. That fighter was in actual danger of dying there.
That was a very well-timed Cure 4 out of the White Mage. Unfortunately, yes. White Mage is now dead.
Yes.
So let's see, 5 hits, 1100 damage. That's actually a good palpable swing. We got another swing, 8 hits, 1443. Down goes Chaos. Get your GGs out in the chat for Rob Draven.
Yes, and with an official racetime.gg time of 56:17, Rob Draven is your winner on stream. And that is also good enough for 9th place. Ahead of him finished Spell Zap at 47:49, Chanigan with 50:49, Pickles and Beer 51:51, Adam Droop at 52:12, Burt Reynolds at 52:34, Crab Cakes at 54:19, Edgeworth at 55:36, and Guardian Marcus with 56:02. Right. It is worth noting that it is your time primarily that determines where you come in the final rankings for pods, rather than the actual place that you finish in the race, with a lower time just being better in general.
And we are joined in chat by Rob Draven, first place finisher on stream. So GG's, Rob.
GG's, man. I gotta say, thank you, Hate, for not rolling absolute garbage. And thank you, Space Drake, for common, because if you didn't, I would have been, and I wouldn't have gotten the best time my best time in the races I raced. So
you are welcome. So first of all, did you know that you actually missed a fast helmet in First Temple of Fiends?
No.
Yeah, Fast Helm was in the upper left chests.
It ended up not being all that relevant, but it was still there, and we were wondering if that was going to be a bit of a factor. Meanwhile, speaking of factors, Life Reboot struggling a little bit here. Still deciding to press on without the mages.
Yeah, you got Nuke, you've got, Invis 2 sticks, you've got Ruse Stick, or not Ruse Stick, but yeah, you got Heal Axe, you got Invis 2 stick, yeah, push forth and hope.
Yeah. So, Rob, how much fun did you have there in that ice cave, especially once you realized, oh, hey, I could get floater money out of this?
Ice cave was great. The only thing I kind of had a chuckle though when I found that my little friends, the eyes, decided to have stone touch, or no, it was glance.
Yeah, it was their vanilla glance.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, great, glance.
Yeah, dog, we heard you liked stone, so we're gonna turn you into stone.
Yep.
Exactly.
Speaking of stone and just death effects in general, you did dodge a absolute missile in that massive Mancat pack, because that had death touch, rub. I think there was some form of stoning in there as well. And one of the things that made Life Reboot fall behind was getting ambushed by that Mancat pack and just getting completely annihilated.
Yeah, they turned into a small pile of paste. It was painful.
Yeah, your heavy nuking allowed you to really dodge something there.
That's good to hear, but feels bad for Life Reboot there.
Yeah. Yeah, and beyond that, you just ran a very clean seed. Is there any place that you particularly think that you might have lost time compared to some of the other runners?
Well, I mean, the obvious, I'd say last locationing in the sense of, basically doing the entire the entire loop all the way around, counterclockwise around the inner continent. Yeah. Going to ice. I know I lost a little bit of time there. I lost a little bit of time, on that first dive to Marsh.
Yep.
That was entertaining, running all the way down there only to find the blue dragon with Blaze.
Yeah, the burning blue tea. And just to put this out there, Life Reboot got wiped out by Chaos. Did not.
Yeah, I did not think that going for that two-fighter Chaos was the best of ideas. He's going to have to get through Tiamat with all 4 Light Warriors up.
Yeah, and Honestly, I mean, at this point, I also might consider going White Samurai strats because that White Mage can at least wield that Vorpal. It's not the greatest of all, characters for it, but at least it would be something to swing.
Mm-hmm. Also, Life Reboot going for some temper strats on Tiamat here. Kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's because he's swinging the Ice Swords -2. So he's got to do something to try and up his damage a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Especially since he didn't promote, so he doesn't have all those knights with Cure 4.
Yeah, I realized that I could learn those spells, and I went, no. I don't have time. I gotta kill Chaos.
Yeah. This is a very beefy Tia 2, by the way. Holy crap.
Yeah, Tia 2 was pretty beefy. I mean, she was also taking, no damage from Nuke. It was crazy.
And out comes the zap from Tia, and hey, at least his White Mage survives this time.
Yep. And the Quad X, which hits a fighter for ineffective, for no effect because it will only kill if you have less than 300 HP.
I think that he's also got Pro Rings on his fighters, so he's safe from the Quad X, because Quad X is Death Elemental.
Yes, indeed. Fire 2 doing Fire 2 things, which is not a lot.
Alright, 5 hits, 227. We've got 6 hits, 420.
6 hits, 420 damage.
That's
good.
Oh, 6 hits for 64. Yeesh. Alright, but 6 hits for 170 something. Crits came through, got him through safe.
Yep. And I'm gonna pop some heal potions.
Shotgun those heal pots.
Now let's see. Did you have any other questions for Rob there, Hate?
I did, but my brain is like a sieve tonight, and I've just entirely forgotten them. Anywho, I'm gonna go ahead and go in for calling this. So we've got Nuke, we've got Invis 2, and we've got Invis 2. Trying to get some evasion stacks up, trying to make sure that Chaos gets some damage taken before the nuclear comes out, because we know it will. Right,
yep.
326. Ooh, swing and hit for 319 on 11111. And of course, Invis 2 comes out just after the nick of time. We've got more Nuke, and we're probably going to get some more Invis 2. Nope, getting the heal 3 axe coming out. And another Nuke.
That is not actually the call I would have made, because you want to get that fighter's HP as high as possible but before the Nuke comes out.
Yeah.
Instead, it's Fire 3 doing Fire 3 things, which is doing a lot of damage. Holy crap.
Yeah, that hurts. I mean, we know 11111 has the ribbon on, or at least I think it's that one who does.
Yes.
Which I don't quite like how... Oh,
whoa. Big zap coming out from Chaos there. That's not what you want to see, especially with that Nuke hanging out in the back pocket.
Yeah, this
Lit
is...
doing Lit 2 things.
Oh, no. Oh, no.
Fast and prey.
Oh, no.
Ouch.
Oh, no. Nuclear down in.
Things.
Ouch. Man, this Topher is not playing kindly with Life Reboot.
No, it is not. I am curious, Rob. What did you think when you saw that those two fighters had the ninja spells available? Were you actually thinking that you might not promote this seed, like Life Reboot has done, or were you thinking I actually need to try and find promotion as soon as possible because multi-spell knights sounds like one of the best things ever?
So I actually didn't even worry too much about promoting. It was just, oh, hey, I've got the tail. Great. I mean, I would have wanted to promote with this because, I mean, the moment I saw the two fighters, I'm like, okay, two fighters, ninja spells. I'm gambling on Nuke being in the first 4. If Nuke's in the first 4, this seed is free. That's basically what I was thinking. And then at that point, it's like, oh, and then it's like, oh, I found a Vorpal +3. Okay, well, I think I had the tail by the time I found it, but it was like, I was like, well, I'll promote. I tend to promote a lot of times if I find the tail. I mean, if I hadn't found the tail, I wouldn't have gone looking for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the promotion was just an incidental of like, all right, well, I found it, I'm just going to do it. That's,
Life Reboot realizing that the proper play here is to rely as much as possible on spell damage to get through this incredibly tanky Tiamat, which he does and gets through very cleanly. And as soon as we hit Chaos, we are going to heal up a little bit, and that is going to be about it. And should do a lot better if we go ahead and tank up one of our fighters as big as possible, and hopefully Life Reboot decides to make use of that Vorpal, which is just sitting in the inventory. But no,
I'm kind of surprised he hasn't, but I also understand him not doing so. Just because it's
and it looks like
getting some of his 2 stacks out and getting a fast
going for the double. First swing takes out the White Mage immediately, and looks like Life Reboot is going to try and go for the. Oh no, is just going to temper up quad 1, and
Chaos just deletes the mages in the first 2 rounds.
Yeah. Chaos says, "Hate mage."
Mages look like candy. Nom nom. All right, low roll on that nuclear. That's something you kind of love to see out of Chaos.
Yep. In fact, it is healed away almost entirely. And so Life Reboot is going to just do White Mage things and hit maximum evasion, and then probably buff quad 1 to the absolute 9s.
I don't hate the play. It makes sense to do so. Just keep 1-1-1-1-1 tossing out the heals while quad 2 does the buffing things, and then can potentially finish burning his tempers on 1.
Yeah, especially since Chaos seems to have every damage skill under the sun.
Yeah, I don't think I've seen a swirl out of him, but I've seen everything else.
I'm
Except
pretty
for, like,
sure he has a
damage
tornado
poison.
somewhere in there.
Yeah, I know we saw a tornado because that's what killed Life Reboot first time.
Yeah.
All right, well, 2 swings and does a tickle amount of damage.
Yep. Temper's finally coming up. Now, the one thing that gets spooky here is that so Chaos first of all has double nuclears. But secondly, the one problem here is that Quad 1, in addition to being the buffed up damage source, is the one with the heal axe. A bit awkward.
Don't think that's the second nuclear. I think Chaos has looped around because it was nuclear and then Blizzard and Blaze.
Yep. Oh, geez. All right.
Oh my.
And he is very, very happy with those skills.
Ooh.
Oh, and that down goes quad even through all that invis. Tornado comes out.
All right, it's time to swing and pray. All right, 5 hits, 650 or 556.
A and pray.
Yep. 5 hits, 540. All right. Just hoping to get him. Oh, there it goes.
And with an official racetime.gg time of 109.53, Life Reboot has killed Chaos, and that is good enough for 15th place overall. Please get out your GGs. That was a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, that Chaos was doing cracking 2 things. All right, and we are joined in. Yeah. All right, we're joined in the chat by Life Reboot. So, GG's Life Reboot.
Hello, GG Rob.
GG Life Reboot.
So, Life, how much do you hate right now for giving you that awful trash fire of a Topher?
I'm not too mad. I would have preferred if I had noticed that Floater was for sale early game instead of walking from Elfland to Matoya back to Elfland. But Topher's gonna I never found the tail, and I never found decent armor beyond the flame -2 or whatever it was. I
Yeah.
felt really unprepared, and I was hearing your comments with the delay. I didn't even realize that my white mage could equip that Vorpal +3. Whoops.
Oops. And yeah, so also the tail was in Ordeals.
Makes sense.
Yeah, vanilla tail spot. And, I've rolled myself worse Topher's, so this one, whilst Chaos was kind of annoying, it wasn't nearly as bad. I see Rob has decided to reset back and let's check the rest of the blurses.
Yeah, so yeah, it was interesting that the black belt actually had that that excal. Like, were you ever even remotely tempted by that, Rob, or were you just thinking that's like a gimmick among gimmicks? I'm not even gonna bother.
That is the ultimate gimmick. Like black belt, I've noticed is either a trap or it's literally like the thing to do. And in this case, I saw that trap coming a mile away.
Yeah,
I actually only reset here because I actually wanted to see how the white mage would have handled it, and the white mage actually would have been really done really good for that Vorpal with that strength buff if they had some hit points. That was the one thing that white mages miss.
Yeah, the white mages were a bit fit in this seed, and yeah, the black belt I have found in these flags is most of the time a trap. Unless it's like, oh yeah, this black belt has, black mage spells. Then you can grab it and run with it. But yeah, if it's a standard black belt, they're mostly traps.
Anyway, in other race news, so in between Rob and Life Reboot, we have Rubes coming in with 5712. With Ailmarkin coming in at 59.12, Fryteeth coming in at 102.18, and Griggly Puff coming in at 104.26, followed by Demon RHK coming in with 111.04, Jacob are coming in at 113.37, Gouda coming in at 114.49, and Sonny Wrath coming in at 120.53, with Lord Fizzlebeef, Thundercloud, Darkmoon EX, and Papa Ducks all just forfeiting at various points.
Yeah. One other thing to call out before there is you missed Cheeseinator in the middle there. He finished 4 seconds after me, 56.21.
Aha.
Better get everyone called out.
Yes, indeed.
It was all
because
really close.
We had 21, 2, 3. Yeah, we had 25 entrants in this particular race. So this has been a very competitive qualifiers, and we are definitely sorry that we weren't able to get everyone on stream. But part of the problem is that a lot of our usual commentators and crew are also running these races.
Yeah, honestly, it was a debate for me tonight. It was like, do I want to try and get my time down, or do I want to commentate? You know what? I'll go for commentating, because if I get knocked out of the 32, well, that's fine. That just means I'm commentating more.
Yes. And meanwhile, I'm in the unique position where I was busy for most of the past 2 months, and therefore didn't have time to actually participate in any qualifiers.
That would explain where you've been at.
Mm-hmm. And you won't be... Anyway.
Well, it's good to have you back, at least.
I guess with that, that's about all the questions we have. So do we have any final thoughts from Life Reboot and Rob Draven? Yeah.
You can start LRB if you want.
Sure, let's start with you, Life Reboot, go.
Just real quick, GG again to Rob and all the other runners. Anyone watching that is not part of the community, visit FinalFantasyRandomizer.com. I've been part of this community for about 2 years, and it's a great community. Everyone will teach you what you need to know if you have questions.
Yeah, I got to echo that. It's a great community. Come join the Ducks. I mean, I'm pretty sure both of us started as Ducks, and there's tons of people who started just new players. I mean, if we can make it here, you can too. GG's to everybody. Good luck in the pods for everyone who made it. I mean, seriously, this is a very, very tough. Like the qualifiers are tough. Everybody who's in it is good. So good luck to everybody, and we'll see you in the pods.
Yes, indeed. Anyway, with that, this has been Final Fantasy Randomizer on SpeedGaming, and we still have some races for Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past going on SpeedGaming 5 and SpeedGaming 6. We have a Zelda 1 rando going on SpeedGaming 3, and some Super Metroid action on SpeedGaming 4. And with that, I am Space Drake.
And I am Hate the 13th, but one thing more before we entirely wrap it up. As you may have heard Rob and Life Reboot mention about the Duckling program, we have a new Duckling boot camp that is slated to start in early November. For those not familiar with what the Duckling program is, it is a 6-week program where we basically teach you how to play the game, like how to run Final Fantasy Randomizer. And there is going to be a tournament of just the Ducklings afterwards, and it's a quite informative process. And if you're interested, come join us for it, because it's also pretty fun. So, and now that I've got my spiel out of the way, thank you for hosting us tonight.
Good night, everybody.